right, we are officially live. Hello to all my BC WrestlePod nerds out there, and welcome to another rendition of All Elite Insight, or just Elite Insight for those of you who've been here forever, our AEW pay-per-view review show here on BC WrestlePod. And tonight, me and my lovely co-host will be reviewing AEW and New Japan's Forbidden Door London, which took place this past Sunday, August 24th. Of course, I am El Jefe of BC WrestlePod, Mikey, and joining me this evening, of course, is Hiromu Tanahashi. Where do we keep coming up with these names, JV? Like, what is happening? Like, what is going on?
I got nothing better to do with my life except come up with food puns for wrestlers. I feel like I need to make a list.
Honestly, I feel like we need to start keeping track of all the different names that we have every time you come on for these reviews. Because, well, and by the way, sneak peek, this is our new cookbook you got. Just kidding. Or it could be. Who knows?
Don't joke with that. I will make up recipes for all of these.
I feel like we all will. I have a couple, when we want to go international too, in terms of like if we want to go to Mexico or things like that. But that's for the future. Of course, also joining us this evening is Mr. Benny, the homie, the friend who sat with me 3.5 hours for Forbidden Door on Sunday afternoon. Oh, man, it was crazy. We had a fun time.
Good evening. Good evening and salutations. And let's rock and roll, shall we?
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned, we are here to review Forbidden Door. So what we are planning to do is we're going to briefly go over 0 Hour, and so then we're going to dissect the main card as much as we can, because there was a lot of things that happened, and it's so exciting. But before we get into all of that, though, really quick housekeeping. If you like what you see here, you can subscribe to YouTube or follow us on Twitch and Kick, whatever your preferred video or streaming platform is. But if you cannot commit to our live streams or watch the edited reviews that go up the following day, you can still connect with us through our social medias at BC WrestlePod. And apparently y'all like us because we are at 402 subscribers on YouTube. I was like, oh my gosh, there is 402 people who actually watch us. It's crazy out here.
If they only would like the videos and comment, that'd be even better.
Which is very true, but you know what? Those view counts do help a little bit, and the live streams and the edited videos, when you combine those numbers, solid. So it's really, really fantastic. But if you can't do that, then you could still, again, social medias at BC WrestlePod on the Facebook, the X, well, not the X, the Blue Sky, the TikTok, and all the Instagram and all other platforms you can think of where we do report cards. I'm going to be picking up the clips back once again now that I've kind of gotten back into the swing of routine while working for 9 out of 12 years out of the year as a school educator, which is crazy. But we also have some merchandise available, and y'all might want to get some of that because some of these collections, especially our summer one, is going away in a couple of days to make room for our fall collection. Also, Fourth Wall decided to change its policies, so we may have to reduce how much stuff we have anyways, which is totally okay. But we have merch for all of our review shows. Again, our summer collection is going away in a couple of days. We also have our Pride collection and our Anti-Fascism collection, where the Pride and Anti-Fascism collection, we have part of the proceeds will be donated to charity organizations, which includes Point of Pride and the California Youth Immigration Justice Fund, just to name those two things. And stay tuned because our fall collection, which is going to be fun, will also have a charity organization. Stay tuned for that to figure out what we're going to do with all of that. But if you want to cop that merch, you can check the link in the chat and in the description of this live stream below at bcwrestlepodshop.fourthwall.com. Now that we got that out of the way, gentlemen, let's just jump straight into Forbidden Door. So again, we are going to kind of jump through 0 Hour for a little bit. Probably spend about, I say 10 minutes and then we'll spend a whole hour on just 0 Hour. Just kidding. But I do want to go over 0 Hour because 0 Hour was actually, with the 4 matches we had, I actually really enjoyed all 4 matches. I was like, you know what, 0 Hour? I would buy this pay-per-view if these were the 4 matches I got to watch for free. because there was a lot of talent internationally and AEW homegrown, so to speak. So let's just jump straight into it because we kick things off with our first match, which was an 8-man tag team match, which saw the Crew of Leo Rush and Action Andretti teaming up with the Don Callis family, which is, in this case, Josh Alexander and Echiseto. And they were taking on the team of Paragon, which is, cool dad Kyle O'Reilly, who is also being torn between two different groups. That's depressed and kind of somewhat angry Roddy Strong. And then, of course, they are teaming up with New Japan's stars, our current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, El Desperado. And, of course, a boy after my own heart. Love him ever since he came to Excursion in TNA 2.5 years ago and teamed up with Joe Hendry. But our boy Yuya Uemura is in the building, too, for this one. I love Yuya so much. And, of course, commentary made an effort to say, you know what? This is next coming to Tanahashi. And I was like, you know what? Facts. And I'm not upset about that too. Just his whole character and his persona, I can totally see it. So these are the 8-man that we're battling it out. And boys, I gotta say, I really thoroughly enjoyed this one. One thing I do want to point out though, I really like Leo and Action as a tag team. I was like, please put them in tag team matches more because they are great. Of course, they've been traveling all over the world to different promotions, and I will be seeing these two boys as well as two other AEW stars be part of CMLL's Grand Prix this Friday, so that's going to be fun. JBL, I'm going to come to you first. We had this 8-man to kind of kick the things off for 0 Hour. What did you think?
Well, I was surprised that Dom Fallis got in the ring because, he's Hechicero, so obviously Dom Fallis wrestling is just wonderful to watch. I think you're right on Action Andretti and Leo Rush being a great team, and they do know each other quite well. They're like a Temu private party in the best possible way, and I feel like they could do so much more were they given time, but I don't know that I think the problem with them is that Action Andretti doesn't have an on-screen presence even when he tries. So it's all on Leo to kind of carry that, which is tough. But hard-hitting match. You're very right. Uemura is very much the second coming of Tanahashi or Hash Browns. And he's... I don't want to see him take all of Tanahashi's stuff and like really make it like he needs to have his own path, but a couple more flares here and there would be great. And I think him and Desperado playing into that because it would be an amazing kind of back and forth, like to see when they finally do split what ends up happening. But the four men in each team, they really did try their best for the couple of spots here and there where they had a couple of miscommunications. It was pretty well done.
All right. Benny, same question to you. In fact, we were separately watching this before we came on together for the final one, which led us into main card. So what did you think of our first 0 Hour match here?
Yeah, I also thought, just as the same as you, JBL, that like Crew, they need more in-ring time. Like because they seem like so fluid together.
Yeah.
There was like a springboard, like cutter into an ace cutter. Double team that was fantastic. I was like, what? More of that, please. And then when I saw that Josh Alexander and Yuya Uemura were gonna be in a match together, I was like, ooh, yes, please.
Right.
When it comes to like Roddy and Kyle, like Roddy's always been this guy that like everybody said like he's sort of bland, like can wrestle his ass off, but in character wise he's just sort of like there,
Right.
So like him finding this other level of character, I'm totally here for it.
It's been a very interesting thing for sure, watching Roddy kind of like pulling Kyle away from Ishii and Hologram and the conglomeration thing of everything. So very interesting to see. But of course, Roddy, Despy, and Yuya do pick up the victory over the Don Callis family and Crew. So this was a fun way to start. So we move into our second 0 hour match, and again, Tony Khan just casually just dropped this, be like, "Hey guys, this is a match that's happening on 0 hour." And I looked at the card and I was like, "Tony, come here, we gotta talk real quick again." I already said this when you dropped casually that opening up Supercard of Honor back in April was Echi Seto and Michael Oku. And then you're having Michael Oku team up with Jet Speed. I was just like, Tony Khan, you can't just casually just drop this out of nowhere. It is no secret. I am the biggest fan of Michael Oku, especially in Rev Pro. Man is doing great things. So much fun. He's part of one of my favorite matches so far this year. Him and Leon Slater. That's crazy. But we have Michael Oku ready. Now we play. Teaming up with Jet Speed to take on, anime villain himself, Ricochet, and the Gates of Agony, or Goa for short.
Did we hear that Ricochet is trying to trademark bald for merch
yes,
now? Like,
I was like, Ricochet, why are we trying to trademark the word bald? I was like, okay. Maybe he could spell it differently. But anyways, this was a 3-on-3 trios match, and honestly, this was really, really fun as well. Of course, Jet Speed getting their stuff in. Gates of Agony looking really great in this match, and I'm really glad that we're kind of finally pushing them up to being consistently used more because they are both great. Ricochet being Ricochet and getting, bald head slapped in match, which is so much fun as always. But damn, Michael Oku, I'm biased as hell. I really love him. Anytime we get to go into the UK, he's great. Of course, unfortunately, shenanigans do happen, as they always seem to do with Ricochet and the Gates of Agony as well, which did allow Ricochet and Goa to pick up the victory over Oku and Jet Speed. But, so Benny, I'm going to come to you first. What did you think of this trios match for our second, match for 0 hour?
I thought that Michael Oku and Jet Speed worked perfectly together. They just looked like a unit. This is like their first time teaming together that I know of. I had said something on Blue Sky, Toa Leona's gonna pounce somebody out of their boots. Thank God, Speedball doesn't wear any. But I was not expecting it to be Michael Oku, and God, he almost died on that on that pounce. He landed on the floor on his face.
Good
it Lord,
rough. That was so rough.
But I love the fact that this is not the only time we'll see him tonight, and GOA deserves the world in my opinion. Bishop Khan is one of those dudes that's been putting in the hours and all the miles on the road for years. He should get some recognition.
100% agreed.
Yeah, totally. And to see that GOA finally working in a style that fits them again, because they've always been really good with trio stuff, and given smaller, because Kevin, they're not the smallest to be, but compared to GOA, they're right about the right size to be thrown around and beat up. You had a high-flying match that you couldn't get away from, and Michael Oku just soaking in that crowd reaction that he was getting from the hometown crowd and being able to use that against Ricochet's shenanigans throughout the entire thing. I loved this match.
This was a lot of fun, and again, with Forbidden Door being in London this year, it's really fun to get more UK representation because the UK scene is really great. Thursday, me and Andrew are going to continue to talk about it, and also some of the folks over Michael Oku has been a busy man this past weekend. Not only did he do Forbidden Door on Sunday, but he was also at Rev Pro's 2 shows that they have. He participated in Global Wars UK by going up against Leon Slater for a second round. So now they're tied 1-1. So hopefully get another match. And then he was at the anniversary show 2 as well. So crazy. And now he's here. I love it. Again, Ricochet and Gates of Agony do pick up the victory here. So we move on to our third 0 hour match. And Lord have mercy, I had such a blast with everybody involved in this match. So We had a 8-woman tag team match, and I swear to God, Tony Khan with this and what we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show as well about a certain person returning. You better be giving us our blood and guts match for the women, but I digress. So, of course, we have the Triangle of Madness. The Triangle of Madness, which is the team of Tekla, Julia Hart, and Sky Blue, teaming up with the Megasis herself, Megan Bain, taking on the team of Queen Aminata, Willow Nightingale, Chris Statlander, and so happy she's back in the ring with her shenanigans. Feel the wrath, Harley Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
I missed Harley so damn much, you guys. I missed her so much, and I'm so happy she got to be in the ring for this one. So I'm going to say something, and I feel like, it's not to spoil anything, but we are going to talk about it. But with some of your heavy hitters going away for a little bit to go take care of some injury stuff, specifically Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay, because who knows how long they're going to be out, Tony Khan has the prime opportunity to, fill that void. And who should he fill that void with? Give us more women's stuff. I think the women's division could carry that empty space for whenever we get these people back, because I was like, give me more women's matches and segments, please. But I digress. I had such a blast with this one. This was a lot of fun. It was really cool. Everybody worked very well together. Again, we're also telling little stories too, because Tekla, Queen Aminata still hate each other's guts, which is really fun to watch. Chris and Willow are still on the on again, off again, like friendship, saying, hey, we're going to work together, but things happen. Harley Cameron is just a gremlin and an agent of chaos that we love. Megan Bang out here doing Megan Bang things and just being a powerhouse, throwing, women left and right. But I will say, I'm really proud of Julia and Sky for how far both of them have come into their own with these characters as well as their wrestling styles, because this was a lot of fun. This is a good showcase of some of your newer folks. And a lot of these folks are also over with the crowd, or they're like been your homegrown forever, especially Chris. Chris has been here the longest, which is crazy. JBL, I'm going to come to you first. What did we think of our 8-woman all-star tag?
This could have been on the main card. I think that they had a great run back and forth. Megan Bain wrecking everybody up and down everywhere else. And give me more Megan Bain, Chris Statlander one-on-one. We need Big Mommy, going after each other. Much more to this fact. The other thing that hits me every time I see this, and every time we get into one of these women's matches, no matter who's in it or what's going on, why are you not pushing Willow Nightingale farther? Why are you not giving... She is the best home-brewed babyface, white meat babyface wrestler you've got, with that charisma to draw people in and not just be like, I'm going to win because I'm going to wrestle. She, in total, should be up there with the Tonys and the Mercedes of the world as like the third in that triad of just great wrestlers at the top of the division that's keeping them on their heels. Like, why don't you push her more? Why can't you book the women more? We don't need as many of these men's wrestlers, and now you have the perfect time because of what happened later in the show and what's been going on. You have more time to give to the women. So do it.
Seriously. Benny, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think I've been with Willow, like I've been tooting that horn for a while. Like she's like Teflon, right? Like nothing sticks to her. Like she loses, and she comes back the next week. Yay! Everybody's happy to see her. Doesn't matter, and like it's hard to keep that that special. And I'm not saying that they're losing it. I'm saying like they should just capture it. But back to the match, I really love the fact that like Megan Bain has changed up her finisher to the running Liger bomb. I always thought that the F5 or whatever they call it, like bow down or whatever, like it's just like it didn't fit the character, because like she should be throwing these women around, because like she's like 3 times the size of them. So like her picking one of the smaller women up and running across the ring and slamming her down. That makes more sense. But I digress. Um, it was a good match, but like I can't say that I haven't seen it before. Like, cause it's been like the same group of people minus Harley Cameron for like a month and a half.
Right. So I'm just like, it's time to culminate it into something crazy. Again, give me my blood and guts match. Like, let's culminate this, and then everybody can splint off and do other things and whatnot. So, yeah. So, of course, we have, the Triangle of Madness and Mega Bang do pick up the victory over, our baby faces. But a really fun match. We're not done with the women quite yet because we're going to talk about Queen and Tekla a little bit later. But let's get into our final 0-hour match, which was for the AEW World's Trios Championships. So, of course, we have the Ops, Samoa Joe, Katsuyori Shibata, and Powerhouse Hobbs taking on New Japan's Bullet Club War Dogs, being represented by, Clark Connors, Robbie X, and one of my new personal faves to follow in New Japan after the G1, and Drilla Maloney. I love Drilla so much. He's so good in the G1. This was fun for what it was. I never felt that the Ops were in any danger of losing their championships. But I kind of just, how do I put this nicely? Because I love Joe and Shibata and Hobbs. But again, I don't think Tony knows what to do with the Trios Championship. So this just happened because, they showed up. The Bullet Club War Dogs showed up on the go-home angles for Forbidden Door. So that's why we're getting this match. This was fine what it was. I was just like, but now where do we go? What do we do with the Ops? Hook released the Hook signal like 2 weeks ago. So obviously Hook is going to come back in some capacity. If he's going to have beef or we're going to see something with the Ops, who knows? But spoiler alert, the Ops do beat the Bullet Club War Dogs. Damn. They can't catch a break. Bullet Club War Dogs have been losing everything this year so far. I was like, dang, man, y'all can't catch a break. So very interested, though, to see what happens at another promotion. We'll talk afterwards because Clark Connors is the men's champion for a certain wrestling promotion in Washington. Benny, I'm going to come to you first. This was the match that we were kind of still in the middle of when we got online on Sunday before the main card started. What did you think of our Trios Championship match?
To be honest with you, it was an Ops match. Like it was with all due respect to the Ops. I love everybody involved, but like their matches are starting to become a little formulaic. Like Shibata gets the comes in, kicks the crap out of people, tags in Joe. Joe does this. Joe plays the hits. They tag in the Hobbs. Rinse and repeat. But like, I did like the War Dogs showing here. As you said, like Drilla Maloney really stepped it up in the G1 this year, and Clark Connors for somebody who was on the first Forbidden Door, and this to open up the him being on the pre-show. It was still pretty cool. Like I like Clark Connors a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish that War Dogs were on the actual main show, but I digress.
Yeah. I will say, though, and the funny thing is, because remember, Clark Connors wasn't even supposed to be a part of that Fatal 4-Way to crown the inaugural AEW International Championship. What's it called? International? Anyways, the All-Atlantic Championship.
Yeah, was it All-Atlantic? It's still, oh yeah, no, if it was that early, it was the All-Atlantic, you're right.
Because it was the first Forbidden Door, and because Clark Connors ended up replacing Ishii because Ishii got hurt.
Right.
And so, and I was like, who is this weirdo cowboy character by the end of the match? I'm like, God, I loved it. Anyways.
I think we talked about this when we watched that show. that I was the only one who knew who Clark Connors was, because I watched WCPW, where he was their champion for a good long time in there, and so seeing him come that far was huge for me. Also, seeing Drilla Maloney on actual like live television that's not pre-taped from another country, that was crazy for me to see him at all be allowed on live TV after his entire career. But yeah, I think I agree with you, Benny. It is very rinse and repeat. The one thing I'll say is Joe didn't play all the hits. There were multiple spots where he could have done the nope spot and he didn't, and that kind of that just made me angry.
That's true. That is very true. The biggest one. How can you not play Freebird?
Yeah, no, come on.
I was like, come on, Joe, get it together. But the Ops retain their trios championships. 0 hour ends. We get our video hype package to introduce us to Forbidden Door 2025. And we kick things off with our first match on the main card, which is a tag team match, which is kind of crazy to say. I was like, of everything that is going down, we get a regular tag team match. So this, of course, is Adam Copeland and Christian Cage taking on the team of Kip Sabian and Killswitch. Of course, Killswitch is taking the place of Nick Wayne, who unfortunately broke his foot and is going to be out of action for a little bit. So that's the whole thing that happened. But again, you know what? I love these international crowds. Their football chants are great. I love them so much. Them singing to Christian Cage for them to be, hey, Christian, why do you want to be my dad? I'm like, oh my gosh. Also, I feel like I wasn't the only one that noticed this. Did anyone notice that now we're including in Christian's graphics for the Titantron? Now it has like he is an asshole. I was like, oh my god. They included it in. This was an interesting match from story-wide perspective because, again, Christian Cage is still being a douche, but he has, similar enemies that Copeland wants to deal with as well. So they got to deal with these guys, and then FTR is waiting for them as well. But this was also a secondary story that even though Killswitch is in here, in place of Nick Wayne, who assuming from storytelling-wise, Nick Wayne is endorsing to be in here. Kip and Killswitch could not get on the same page for a lot of this. Also, Kip Sabian bled like crazy. I was like, oh my god, where did you come from? Why are you bleeding so much? I was just like, also, shout out. I need that lace top that the Kip was wearing when he came in. I was just like, spicy. Anywho, I really like this match. I think this is a fun way to open the show. Of course, the UK crowd is great. Said we are seeing Metalingus everywhere we go in terms of international crowds. Christian Cage being Christian Cage, and it was really nice to see Killswitch back in the ring with Kip. But even though I picked them to win because they got FTR down the road, I was still kind of surprised to see the Cope and the Cage, pick up the victory here. And I feel like Kip Sabian and Mama Wayne are going to bully Killswitch for a little bit because that's what it seems like we're going towards. JBL, I'm going to come to you first. This was what opened up the main card. What did you think of our tag team match?
I can describe it in the most succinct way this way. This was just a messy bitch. There was planned spots of like that didn't work between Kip and Killswitch. Then there were unplanned spots where they definitely could see the ring rust on Killswitch. Christian and Cage, Christian Cage and Copeland working together, but not really working together. But you could see them fighting, them falling back into the old patterns. Like Christian especially was like, no. And so they were in their heads quite a bit on this one. It just didn't seem like it worked as well. Killswitch, I know you're excited to be there, but your choke slams are either too soft or too big. Like, just be careful. You're going to hurt your back again. Like, don't hurt yourself there. And Kip Sabian, apparently you're now in the John Moxley thing of you breathe and you bleed. Like, no one touched you. I don't know where that came from. But I think you're right, Mikey. I think that they are moving Christian's character onto Mother Wayne to be the big bully for Killswitch. And does this then bring back Jack Perry to save his dinosaur friend? Does this mean we get a Killswitch and Jack Perry versus Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne? Do we see that down the road? Because obviously FTR are coming to fight the old guys for their last run through, and we know that's going to happen. I don't know. There's a lot of ways to go. The thing I'm most mad about, and Benny, I think I knew that I was trying to plan out a really cool thing for this, and damn you, Tony Khan, for not booking it. You've got Christian Cage in the ring. You've got Edge in the ring. They're getting beat up. Things are wrong. Lights go out, Ring of Fire on the stage, and Gangrel pops out to save their asses from Mother Wayne. Like, why didn't you? You could have had him there very easily.
Right? And I think Cope even like owns the Brood like
The
trademark.
song, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of I really like the spots where Kill Switch and Luchasaurus was like throwing using Kip as a weapon.
Mhm.
Like it's sort of like a throwback to the old Jungle Express days, where like that's the only way Luchasaurus knows how to be in a tag team, I guess. It just throw his partner at his opponent.
Yeah.
And like I completely agree with you with the choke slam thing. It's like, could you wait for the guy to jump? Like,
Please.
you know this this is a 2-man effort, right? Like that first one, Christian's like I'm landing on my shoulder. I ain't taking it on my neck.
Oh, but he's trying to. Oh my God.
Seriously. So, of course, like I said, Cope and Christian to pick up the victory over Kip Sabian and Kill Switch, which then takes us into our second match of the main card. And oh my God! So, I thought to sit with this because, once I went back and watched the Steel Cage match, obviously Steel Cage has lots of crazy stuff. I feel like it's in its own entity because it's a lights out steel cage match. So I was like, okay, of course there's going to be like spots everywhere, which I love. So then I was like, okay, which one is going to be my favorite match in terms of like just wrestling wise and like what we're getting here? I still don't know because I still can't pick between two of these. This is one of the two in contention to be my favorite match of the entire card. But this is for the TNT Championship. Kyle Fletcher putting the title on the line against New Japan's Hiromu Takahashi and child author. So his child, his children's books are wild, and I love it. We're far enough in. I fucking love this match so much. I really did. I'm a big fan of Kyle Fletcher. Everybody here at BC WrestlePod knows I'm the biggest fan of Hiromu Takahashi outside of his ring gear, but he is a phenomenal wrestler as well. And these two told a really cool and fun, like, in-ring story of just, Kyle kind of dominating a little bit, and then crazy Hiromu Takahashi comes out, especially in that sequence when he kept getting smacked around and kept getting up and laughing maniacally in Kyle's face. And this match was so much fun. Of course, Kyle does retain his championship, but if I could, I would have given it a standing ovation, but I was eating pancakes at the time this match was happening because it was the morning for me still. Betty, I'm going to come to you first because we kind of talked a little bit about it after the match was over. We were getting ready for the next one of how much Kyle and Hiromu have come into their own and improved over the years. So what did you think of our TNT Championship match?
Oh, man. Like, that final stretch was otherworldly. For somebody to be like, Fletch is like 26 or something. Like it's something to the effect, and it's like this guy just gets it, man. Like he just understands who his character is, what he wants to do, and like I'm like literally flabbergasted. Like I don't know what to say about this, and like it's like, damn it, Ben, you're here to review it.
Come on, Benny, get
beautiful,
come on.
Beautiful stuff, all around.
You know what? That is perfectly said, my friend. JBL, I come next day. We are very familiar with both of these guys. How did we feel about our TNT Championship match?
This was up until a couple of the other ones came up. This was my match of the night. This was so well put together and well matched against each other between Kyle, who can play crazy, but was actually the sane one in this most of it, and Takahashi just taking it to him in so many inventive ways. I mean, you've got the Kyle going up for the brainbuster on the apron, which gets reversed into a DDT that he spikes himself on the apron as they come down. And then the move for me, for as slow as it looked, knowing when your body's in this motion how dangerous it is, the Poison Rana over the ropes to the outside was crazy bumps. Like they put more on the line than most of these other guys probably would have without looking dangerous, and I give them full credit for that. Like, it's great to tell that story.
Yeah, these two, I would love to see these two running back in some capacity. And however, I'm gonna be so for real. Like, I know Kyle is still young and he's not necessarily signed to New Japan, and the rules might be a little different, but I would love to see at Wrestle Dynasty next year. Let's have these two running back again, honestly. Yeah. So, like, have them. I mean, Kyle Fletcher has fought in CMLL, have him go over to New Japan and fight Takahashi and some other folks too. And again, depending on weight limits, if we are going to figure it out, Kyle Fletcher in the best of the Super Juniors next year would be kind of wild too. Not gonna lie.
Is he still light enough to do that now? He's put on quite a bit of bulk.
That's what I'm saying. Depending on where he's at, if he still qualifies, Kyle Fletcher being AEW's representative in the best of the Super Juniors would be so much fun. I mean, Nick Wayne and Kevin Knight had a really good showing and did really, really well in best of the Super Juniors, and it was a blast. Rodolfo and I being able to watch the whole entire tournament and cover it on a weekly basis. But again, Kyle Fletcher retains the TNT Championship, and Tony Khan, if we ever get a chance again, please run it back with these two. I want to see these two fight again. It's so good. So we move on into our third match of the main card, which was our international fatal four-way match for the TBS Championship. So Mercedes Moné putting her title on the line against our AEW representative, winning her spot, in Alex Winza. I love Alex so much. And versus CMLL's representative in the Powerhouse and CMLL's Universal Champion, Persephone. And also, hot off of the 5-star GP and Rev Pro Global Wars and all that being startup represented is 22-year-old Bozilla. My God, that girl is. Listen, I am not going to lie. She's still a little green in certain areas, but my God, her entrance, and she made me the biggest fan in this match. I'm a Bozilla fan now, and I was like, I cannot wait to see what her career in Stardom is going to look like now. But I will admit there were certain parts of this match that kind of were a little sloppy. People either rushed to certain things or there was some waiting around. But there was a lot of great moments between this. And honestly, I kind of figured Mercedes was going to retain here, and she did. But I really enjoyed this. And unlike other fatal four-ways for this championship before, or triple threats or things like that, or for any other championship that we have ever gotten in AEW's history, what I really liked and I appreciated is that each one of these four girls, with maybe Mercedes not as much, but we're used to seeing her all the time, got a chance to showcase what they can do and their style of wrestling to the London crowd. So I enjoyed it for what it was, though it was a little sloppy at parts. Let's see. JBL, I'm going to come to you first. We here at All Elite Inside and All Elite Ensemble, we have had our up and down history of Mercedes. But what did you think of our fatal four-way for this TBS championship?
Well, first off, you're right. Bozilla, I'm a huge new fan of Bozilla. I can't wait to see when she takes on Megan Bain at some point down the road. That's going to be a great kind of back and forth. Alex Windsor had a great showing in this. But this was your typical Mercedes Moné match with anybody in AEW. It's going to be sloppy. Things are going to be missed. It's going to be slower than we think because people are rushing. Mercedes is going to miss a spot or two. But overall, it's not going to be bad. It's just going to be a four-way. It could have been so much more. It could have been so much less. I was entertained. I had a great time with it. We knew Mercedes was winning. Also, shout out to all the local British wrestlers trying to walk step in time during her entrance to hold all of her belts, which was great.
That was hilarious. By the way, shout out to so if you look at a picture of all of her, guards lining up, the two that were in the front on the right, shout out to Progress Wrestling Sunshine Machine being a representative in this bit too, as well as a couple of the UK wrestlers. Be like, I know who they are. Anyway, I digress. Continue on, JBL.
If you want to know more, watch Wrestle Talk's coverage of it. They knew pretty much everybody in there for a lot of that, and Cultaholic as well. But yeah, no, it was well worked. All of them have great talent and can really work well match. It's a Mercedes Moné match. She's going to win, and she's going to do what she can, but I think she's better off when she's focusing on one opponent. She doesn't seem to be able to work the multi-person match as well because she seems like she wants to give time, but then also she pulls focus while she's out. It just doesn't seem to give to everybody else in there, and they worked their butts off. But again, better than a lot of matches I've seen in AEW over this entire year, better than some of the matches we had on the card tonight. So, can't say a lot wrong for it. I just, even the Tower of Doom spot where Windsor came up from the Trio Woe, it was okay. Like, I don't know what else to say, but Bozilla, definitely, we want to see more of that.
Yeah, Bozilla had a great run in the 5-star GP this year, making it to the semifinals. And also, shout out to Momo Watanabe for being only one of 3 to win the tournament twice in their career span, which is great. But more on that a little bit later. Benny, same question to you. What did you feel about our 4-way for the TBS Championship?
Yeah, I think on like the watch along, like you could probably see me like fall in love with Bozilla like over the course of this match. Like, I was just like, what a Vader mask, like Bam Bam shoes, like overhead punches, like like, oh my god, like this is perfect, and like with her own flair too,
She pulled the best out of Andre the Giant's moveset.
You ain't kidding. The only thing was missing was the bonsai drop. She even hit like a Bam Bam-esque like side moonsault from the second rope. I was like, I'm here. Like, somebody lock this girl up. Like, like if she doesn't have a contract, sign her up because somebody else will. But like Mercedes, like I completely agree. Like she's been really great this year. But like she does not work well in triple threats or multi-person matches. Even though like even when like what was it, like Battle in the Valley, or like when she lost to
yeah, it was that Resurgence, that triple threat for the strong women's title with her, Azumi, and Mina. Like, even then, because majority, and I was there live, like, it was weird because Mercedes felt very off in that match too, because it mostly came down to Mina and Azumi doing a lot of the interaction, and then Mercedes kind of popping in, but then both girls were also throwing her out of the ring at the same time. It was kind of off-putting, and it was a little disappointing for me, and it was disappointing for Mama Willow too, because she went with me to the Resurgence event, and she's like, "Well, I thought it would be a little more than that." I was like, "Me too, girl, me too." Anyways, continue, my friend.
Yeah, like I completely agree. Like that's exactly my point in that match. I was like, there's something not clicking with Mercedes in this match. Same with this one. And like Alex Windsor, like, man, is that girl like made for TV or what? Like, she comes in and she's like instantly connects with a crowd. And Persephone, same thing. Like, I think she needs to work on facials a little bit, but who am I to say? Like, I feel like Monet just she didn't win this match. She survived this match. Like, she just got a quick roll up and just ran out of there with the belt.
Yeah. So, well, at least the fun. Yeah. So again, Mercedes does win.
I'm worried, Mikey. I don't want to say it out loud. Alex Windsor is getting Deonna Purrazzo.
Oh no, I hope not.
I don't want it, but it's seeming like that more and more.
So if we're gonna go down that path, might as well go the full way, right? So, I mean, granted, because we here at BC WrestlePod in our various factions and our various teams, we all kind of know where all of these women might go. So, of course, Bozilla, so with the 5-star GP done for, Stardom, their next big event is their November, October, like Halloween-esque show. So we got that coming out. So Bozilla and Hate might be doing, of course, are running things a little bit right now. Persephone in a couple of weeks has a very big match where she and her tag team partner will be challenging for the CMLF Women's Tag Team titles at the 92nd Aniversario show in a couple of weeks down there. So she's going to be busy. She was also part of Rev Pro's Global Wars UK as well as the anniversary show. So she's been traveling all over the world. Because Alex Windsor was not the one to get pinned, I feel that we are going to run Mercedes and Alex one-on-one and all-out Toronto. And I don't think Alex is going to walk out of Canada as the champion, unfortunately. It'd be fun if it was, but I still think they're going to have Mercedes hold on to this until she beats Jade's record of being the longest reigning TBS championship, unfortunately. But we'll see what happens with all of that. So we got to move on, though. So, okay. Well, this is for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Champion Zack Sabre Jr. taking on Nigel McGuinness with Daniel Garcia in his corner. I'm going to get this out of the way now because I'm not going to bring it up to there. Danny, I love you, but you added nothing to any part of this match or anything afterwards. I also felt like there might have been an angle, but Tony Schiavone came in and they're like, never mind. We'll just wait on this, so it's fine. I think I can, thinking about it, I honestly think this is probably my favorite match. Like, putting aside the steel cage match as its own entity, I think this is probably my favorite match of the whole entire night. And I think, Betty, we talked about this during the watch along that I've only been watching wrestling maybe religiously for 10 years. Before that, it's been on and off through my high school and my college years. And then once I graduated, it became, diving deep into this. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever imagine that I would see probably one of the best technical wrestlers of this generation in Zach taking on one of the best technical wrestlers of the previous generation, which includes Nigel McGuinness. I was just like, and both Brits, both have their own, cockiness to it, which we loved in this match too. This was just outstanding. And then you also had another great technical wrestler in Bryan Danielson giving commentary to this whole match too. It was like, guys, we win. 2025 has delivered some crazy things. And if I could, I think I may have shedded a tear a little bit. I did not cry on stream, but I did tell Benny this. I was like, this match made me almost tear up a little bit. I was like, oh my God, this is just art in motion. And I have no other words to explain the feelings and what I was watching because I was just like, this was awesome. And again, it might go down as probably one of my favorite matches of this year so far. Benny, I am going to come to you. So Benny, of course, well, actually all three of us follow New Japan somewhat religiously. So we're all up to date on the ongoings of Japan, with Zach getting the title from Goto not too long ago, and with Takeshita waiting in the wings as well as he won the G1. Benny, what did you think of our IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match here at Forbidden Door?
Yeah, I have to say, if there was any match on this card for me personally, this was the match. I had to be selfish like that, but it was I could just take 4 hours of this, just having a chess match, I love the they're both technical wrestlers, right? But they're both clearly two different types of technical wrestlers, right? Nigel is more of a chess playing technical wrestler, and DJ is very much like a jazz influenced wrestler, technical wrestler. Then he improvises on the fly. like it doesn't stay there for too long, and but like Nigel, as Johnny said in the vignette beforehand, he's always thinking 3 steps ahead. And as I also agree that Danny he tried his best in this, but he added nothing. I think Stephon Smith, the referee, added more to this match than Danny did.
Shout out to Stephon, man. Stephon seems to be one of the few AEW reps, not like he's like, no, you need to follow the rules. What are we doing?
He loves to get in people's faces, and like he's got a great body language where it just like he gets so angry, like.
I want to see
but
Stephon guest in Mystery Wrestling at some point because they hate the refs there, and he would just be all in people's faces. Bryce Remsburg's done it. I think
That
it'd
would
be
be
amazing.
Like
Oh
for
my
real.
God.
So yeah, this is great. JPL, like we've been again since the inception of this whole podcast. We have always said that Zach is amazing technician in the ring, and again. In the last 2 years, Zach has probably had some of the craziest moments. Like, shoot, he just got to fight some really incredible people. And again, he gets to fight Nigel McGuinness here. What did you think of this match?
Well, it's one of those things where not only did we never think 2 years ago Nigel McGuinness would ever get back in the ring again. That's a huge thing here. Now he's done it on a huge stage twice. But Zack Sabre Jr. got to wrestle him, a man that definitely influenced how he became a wrestler, definitely was someone that he pulled a lot of his arsenal from in certain ways. And yet, even with the time that's passed, he got a hell of a technical showcase out of him that you didn't think was possible. And on top of that, Nigel didn't wrestle his old style. He wrestled the wily veteran of like, I know where my body is. I know what I can do with it. I'm going to break you down psychologically, make you improvise around me and see what happens. And the two of them were just complete and utter wonderful symphony of pain. And having Bryan Danielson doing the commentary, you want him to jump up there and get in there. There's a triple threat in there that you want so bad that'll never happen. And I don't know. I could sit back. This is one of those matches where you're going to go back and comb through it, especially if you're a wrestler coming up in this world or anything else and finding those small moments. And this is one to just rehash multiple times and get technique from. It's so good.
Yeah, I think I can definitely say for me personally, this is my favorite match of the entire Forbidden Door card because it brought such emotion. And like I was sharing with Benny during the watch along too, very few matches have stuck with me and given me that emotional gravitas that made me kind of either did or almost shed a tear. And those are very few far in between. And so like I was sharing with Benny, you know, there are a few matches that stick with me like that. One of them, of course, the one that started it all for me as an inspiration, besides, you know, me and you, JBL, being friends, was the Bianca Belair Sasha Banks match at Mania. Because that held an emotional weight, of course, you know, outside of two black female wrestlers finally main eventing a WrestleMania. But also, too, it was one of those matches where, you know, it stuck with me because of the personal stuff to it. This one's going to stick with me because of how emotional I felt between watching two generations of technicians go at it. And I'm like, I don't know if we could get it again, but if we can, please give me another one. This time, let's send Nigel to Japan, man.
Well, and this is almost like Bryan Danielson, you know, maybe like, you know, young in his ROH career, getting to wrestle like a slightly past his prime, but not concussed Bret Hart. It's so amazing to watch in that respect.
Yeah, I've honestly gone up back and watched it like 3 times already since Sunday.
Yeah, this was so good again. So, of course, we do get the segment next with Tony Schiavone talking about the records, and then we cut backstage where Queen Aminata and Tekla are fighting. They come out to the middle of the ring. Triangle of Madness.
One of my favorite moments. One of my favorite moments.
I already knew as soon as it happened, I was just like, oh, JBL is going to pop like a cherry up in this piece. So, of course, Triangle of Madness come out. It is a 3-on-1 situation, but then, of course, the music hits, and it is the familiar, like, EDM-esque rave siren song of Miss Jamie Hayter Haterade is back in our nation, y'all, and I am so excited. She comes to Queen Amina's rescue, and I'm like, listen, I was like, obviously she's just came back. I don't want her to potentially hurt herself again, but if you want to put Jamie Hayter in this whatever, blood and guts match, like that would be amazing. I was like, Daphne, I missed you.
Oh. On top of the literal fact that Jamie has another chance to go after Tony. Like, you have it built in. Get to it by Toronto. Seriously.
Which, we'll talk about when we get to Tony's match. I was just like, Jamie to me is one of the only, I would say Jamie and Willow I feel like the only two women who are kind of left to kind of stand in the way of Tony from decimating the whole roster. Really. But,
And to be honest, Jamie still is probably the one that would be best booked to beat her. Like,
honestly,
there is so much in that, and you can stretch it for so long and
give me that
Tony
match
insane.
right now. So, but yeah, that was a fun moment. So let's get into our next match, though. So I'm gonna say this. This towards the end, you know what? I had it was fun, and I loved the good feeling moment at the end of the results. But I was just like, we got to redo this finisher real quick. Hang on. So I was like, damn it, you guys. We were almost there. But
the right team won, but yeah.
Yeah, I was like, damn it, you guys. But I still felt good about it. So we had the AEW World Tag Team Championship 3-way match. So, of course, FTR versus Brodito on the Dynamite Go Home with the full time limit draw. And Tony Khan decided, let's just throw both teams in here. I was like, awesome. I think this is going to be a fun match. I had a great time with this match. And I mean this in the nicest way possible. I still think there are other tag team matches this year and triple threat matches this year in the tag team division that probably rank a little higher than this one. But man, I really love watching Bobby and Shelton over here just do what they do best. Bobbles, we love you, just doing it. And I was telling Benny this during the watch along. I'm a sucker for Shelton's like running like knee strikes into the corners. Like those things sound vicious. FTR out here also, with Stokely, who is short, bald, and gets no hose. Again, 2 weeks ago, that crowd, perfect. Love you. And then, like, everybody's new favorite, and they both deserve good things, especially Brody King, because he's being the absolute best version of a Giga Chad out here, just not giving an F and saying F.
Push him and get him in the title picture.
So, yeah, so we have Hurt Syndicate, FTR, Brodito. This was a really fun tag team match. About 2/3 through the way, though, Hurt Syndicate get jumped by the Goon Squad, who are wearing New Japan track suits, which I was like, you know what? If I can afford it, those actually look really comfy and really nice. And then it's revealed that the hit squad is Ricochet and the Gates of Agony. So Hurt Syndicate and MVP are probably going to be going into the program with them for a little bit, which left FTR and Brodito in the ring. To my shock and awe, Tony Khan is like, let's actually book the babyface to win. And your winner and new AEW World Tag Team Champs, Brodito. Oh my God, I was so happy. I was like, messy finish, but the right team won in my opinion, and you made me feel so happy, Tony Khan. See, we need to do this more often. JBL, what do we think of our triple threat?
So, yes, the right team won, and I'm very happy for Brody and Bandito. And yes, even with the botch and with the mistiming, it still seemed to work. They picked up their thing, and good on FTR being there to kind of pull things through. Yeah. So why did Tony Khan book a triple threat? Couldn't be because the rumors about the heat that the Hurt Syndicate has for not wanting to put people over and yet lose the titles. It couldn't be that at all. Like, this is doing nothing to quell those rumors that they're hard to work with, they don't want to do much, and they're in general just being difficult. But I am excited for a program with the Gates of Agony. They're not going to put them over, so we'll see how that goes.
I mean,
but honestly, FTR could have been the Outrunners, and we could have the same thing, and I would have loved it better.
I'm gonna be so for real. I feel like Outrunners should have been in here, and this would have been crazier. Have Outrunners and listen. If you want the crowd to lose their absolute minds and cry over who they're gonna support, get a program with Brodito and the Outrunners next. Like those are your two biggest babyface tag teams right now. And Jet Speed, I think, will get there eventually. But my God, I won't know who to pick. I'm like, I want both of them to win.
Well, and that would be the best part for this is you have two youngish babyface teams that both have not won a title in AEW, and then you pull the shenanigans you pull, then it's guaranteed that you're going to have a new champion, and it's going to be so much more fun. Whereas you have FTR who are set up for life. They're going into a program with Cage and Cope. They didn't need to be here.
That's very fair. And
Although
you know what?
The Brody King Shatter Machine, awesome.
No, that was sick.
Great.
Yeah. Benny, we're going to come to you now. What did you think of this triple threat?
Yeah, I thought it was super fun. Like when Ricochet and GOA were underneath the hoods, beating up Shelton and Bobby, fighting them off to the back. There was a moment during the watch along when you're like, is that GOA? And then there was this shot, and I noticed Bishop Khan had his socks tucked into his pants or pants tucked into his socks.
Really hard to.
And I was like, you do that. I was like, Bishop does that all the time. It's definitely gonna be him. You gave it away with that with that one little thing, and FTR, as you said, doesn't really need the belts. That Christian, Cope and Christian and FTR feud, it doesn't need the belts. I know, everybody was fantasy booking that's what the direction they should be going, but why do they need it? We could get there eventually. You don't need to do it the first match, and this whole just to finish off this whole Shelton and Bobby being difficult to work with, the sides are starting to add up. The sides are starting to add up, the Crew won number one contendership back in May, right before Double or Nothing, and then that just slipped right past. And then we got another match with somebody else. And then they're not even ringside when they lose the belts. Okay, sure.
Yeah, so again, feel good moment. Brodito are your new tag champs. I love that. Bandito is a double champ for ROH and AEW, so that's a lot of fun. But we got to move on. So I want to
add one more thing they missed.
Go for it.
They missed a trick here. When Bandito does his he's doing the kind of round offs and he's flipping through the ring and he pops up in front of Dax and pulls the gun on him and misses him.
That was so
it is. But you missed a trick. Why wasn't it Cash in there for aggravated assault?
Betty, you literally said that during the watch along too.
Sorry, I had to put it out there too. I'm glad Benny and I were in the same wavelength. Really?
It was right there, but oh my goodness.
The crowd Cash has got a gun.
Cash has got a gun.
Oh my goodness. UK crowd never changed. We love it. So I want to put a disclaimer. So the next three matches that we're going to talk about, I'm going to put a blanket statement over them because I thought these were good, but compared to what we saw in the first half of the card, I was just I feel like the first half was booked a little stronger, but I digress. So let's first get into it. So, of course, of those three matches, we have our AEW Unified Championship next. Kazuchika Okada defending his newly unified championship against, whose house? Swerve's house and Swerve Strickland. First of all, I want to say, Swerve Strickland, your wrestling gear / cosplay gear is always on point, coming out as Mr. Terrific. I want to be Mr. Terrific for Halloween, you guys, but I'm not. I don't want. I am afraid that I'm going to be culturally appropriating, which is not fun. So I got to figure out something else out. My backup costume is Vivi from Final Fantasy IX, so we're gonna figure all that out somewhere. But I digress. First of all, Mr. Terrific gear for Swerve Strickland was amazing. It was so fun. And again, I am a big fan of the band that does Okada's new theme and 1OK Rock. Love them so much, and I love the song. So here's the thing. I think I would have liked this match more if it didn't become how many ways can Swerve Strickland dodge the Rainmaker in this match. Because damn, Okada pulled out the Rainmaker more than I feel like he normally does in any of the matches that he does in AEW. I was like, this felt like a video game where you kept trying to spam that one move, and your opponent is like, nah, fam, we ain't about to have that. And then it kind of became the same thing as like, how many house calls can Swerve give to Okada? So I felt like we were watching like a good Dynamite match, but for a pay-per-view, I was like, it could have been a little bit better. But ultimately, Okada does finally hit a Rainmaker on Swerve and does pick up the victory and retain his championship. We're going to talk about the post-match in a little bit. But, Benny, I'm going to come to you first. What did we think of this match between these two?
Yeah, I actually rewatched this today just to get a feel for it because I love Okada. It's just one of my favorites. And not taking anything away from Swerve, but I love seeing Swerve like work a different paced match. Like this was very much an Okada AEW match, it was building and building and building until the end, and it was a very I thought it was a very good final match for Swerve before he goes off and takes care of himself. And then with Wardlow coming back, oh man,
oh jeez, we're gonna talk about that man in a little bit. JVL, I want to get your thoughts on the match first. What did we think of Okada and Swerve? Who I think we made the decision, Benny. I think this was the first time matchup between these two too, and I think that's what it was. Yeah, so first time matchup between these two, at least one-on-one. So JVL, what did you think of our unified championship match?
Yeah, as far as I know, Swerve has either been in the junior heavyweights while Okada was in the heavyweights, so he never faced him except now. Great storytelling in terms of like you're going to work one part of the body, and Swerve is selling that knee as much as he can. Finding out later that he's been working on a torn meniscus since 2019, and so his dive off the crowd when he was basically Batman taking out the Death Riders, half the stuff, and like he fought Hangman in the cage in a Texas death match with a torn meniscus. I know how bad that is. Like, how is this man still walking? So yes, go take care of yourself. Really get stuff taken. The knee worked on. You're gonna be different when you come back, and we know that. But gods, the fact that he could work at the speed he was working and sell the way he did, Swerve Strickland is a once-in-a-generation talent and should not be let go. And Okada pulled what he needed to out of it. He worked a slower style. He's working that kind of like veteran, I'm just going to go for the power moves, and it works really well. And I think he's saving his body for bigger matches, and this is great. I thought it was a perfectly serviceable match. Did I like the women's four-way more? Yes. Did I like a lot of other stuff on the pre-show a bit more? Kinda. Not taking anything away from these two, but it was a pretty serviceable match.
And I think that's the best way to describe it, because inherently there was nothing wrong for this match to me. I really did enjoy it. I am, like you, Benny, I am a big Okada fan, and it's really been fun since coming into AEW that he's able to kind of lean into more of the silliness of professional wrestling. He's found his niche with, being the leader of the bitch movement. So it's been fun, and the crowd's behind it too. But yeah, I thought this was a serviceable match, and I feel like I'm going to catch some heat from you guys here, but I feel like I can kind of put the same thing here. Maybe a little bit better than the previous match because I'm biased because Timeless Toni Storm is the goddess I wish that I can aspire to be. First of all, Tony, this whole entrance and this outfit, girl.
You skipped over Wardlow.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was so excited to talk about
Wardlow.
Sorry. Who gives the best hugs? And we can verify this in person.
Exactly. I have been hugged by many men. And this was one of the warmest, most supportive, and best-smelling hugs that I've ever gotten out of Wardlow. And when I saw him hug Don Callis, I'm like, I know what that feels like. I know what that feels like.
Yeah, let's briefly talk about that quickly, and then we can get back to the goddess that is Toni Storm and the fallen goddess Athena. So, after the match, Okada starts beating up Unswerved's knee by putting it in the stairs and using the chair. And then Wardlow is back in AEW. I was like, oh my God, our favorite beefy big boy is back here too. I was just like, and yes, me and JVL can verify that in person. Wardlow is actually that massive of a man.
Which says something when he's looking at all the guys in the Dom Fallis family, because like he's shorter than friggin' Takeshita. Like it's crazy. But he wrecks the entirety of Rev Pro Wrestling in the ring.
So Wardlow wrecks Swerve, and Nana, comes out with the pipe to save it. Wardlow leaves, and he is the newest member of the Don Callis family. But we end this shot, which was really good. Takeshita comes out and joins them. And in my head, I was just like, it's going to be amazing to watch Takeshita fight through every single member of the Don Callis family to get to Okada and that championship. 100%. I was just like, do it, Tony Khan.
But he's also the G1 Climax winner.
So, yeah, it's great. Don Callis family, despite Don Callis himself, then you got some really big heavy hitters. You got a lot of international championships in the Don Callis family. Of course, you have Kyle Fletcher, TNT. Josh Alexander is Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling's men's champ. Takeshita is your G1 winner, and you know what? I would not be surprised. So Zach is going to have a match, I believe, with Ren Narita coming up in Destruction in Kobe. And then whatever the event is after that, Takeshita is going to challenge for that title against Zach. And I'm going to be for real, you guys. I think Takeshita is entering Wrestle Kingdom as champion like Zach did this year.
I cannot wait to see that. That is going to be the best thing ever. But again, we're referring to all these people in the family. We have to refer to Dom Fallis by his actual wrestling name, which is Hechicero. So we need to make sure we call him the right thing. So can we make sure that's on record? Okay.
Yeah. So, and of course, taking in the wrestling conspiracy theory further, I think it's Takeshita versus Yota Tsuji at Wrestle Kingdom, but I digress. Anyways.
Really? We'll talk offline.
We'll talk offline, and I'm writing it down so we can, because I want to pick your boys' brains on this as the ones besides me and Adolfo who also do New Japan too. So, Wrestle Kingdom. All right. So now that we've talked about this big beefy man of Wardlow returning, which I'm very happy. So apparently I'm interested to see. That's another story for another day, because I was like, Wardlow returned. I was like, any word on Camille? But we'll talk about that later. Anyways, we can talk about our two goddesses here. Timeless Toni Storm, the goddess that I aspire to be, and this whole outfit, girl, was amazing. And I was just like, she is the best women's wrestler. And JBL, I'm gonna share this too. TikTok and social media has done wonders, because now the rest of the BC WrestlePod boys are kind of drinking the Kool-Aid that we've always been, that she is one of the greatest women's characters right now in any wrestling promotion. And then, of course, I also biased because the forever ROH champ, the fallen goddess Athena, is also here as well. And she is just as equally amazing. Coming up to 1,000 days as champion in a little bit. Of any ROH champion, which is great. But this is for the AEW Women's World Championship. Timeless Toni Storm versus the fallen goddess Athena. Both of them came out swinging with their ring gear and the costuming. Of course, I love when Athena cosplays, and those wings were gorgeous. So good. I was like, she put money into those. And then, of course, loving the black and white version of Tony's outfit coming in, and then when it turned into color, I'm like, my God, it's even better. So I knew this match was going to be a lot of fun, and it definitely was. I do want to put, again, like I said, I feel like this was a serviceable match, but I feel like it itches a little bit higher than, the previous match because it's Tony and Athena. Mina coming being the equalizer by chasing Billy to the back because she tried to hit Tony with the chair. Very surprised that Tony was able to make Athena tap to retain her championship. I was like, I'm thinking, Athena's probably gonna pass out or something, but no, Athena tapped here, which I was like, whoa, I did not have that on my bingo card. Benny, I'm gonna come to you first. What did we think of Tony versus Athena here?
Yeah. First off, as you said, the ring gear was on point. Athena had a vest on that was Athena Elite Wrestling, which I love. I am a 100% a minion. I've been with this girl since early NXT. So put her on TV, damn it. What is it? Tony Storm, coming out looking like a French poodle, and then she takes off the blouse or whatever, and she had gone full. I couldn't tell if it was full Betty Davis and what about Jane?
All About Eve, or what about Jane?
All about yeah, and or it was a Harley Quinn clown, and I was watching it you can see me on the stream trying to figure it out, and, and also on the stream there's sometimes when I even work myself and as most fans do. And I got audibly angry when Athena tapped out. Oh my god!
I was like, "What?" I was like, but in the best way possible, Benny. I was like, "Oh," I was like, "All right then." The what if Athena did win and became double champ would have been amazing. But again, Tony was able to tap her out, and we kind of talked about this before, so we aren't going to go back too much into it. I feel like at this point, it is Jamie Hayter as my number one pick, but also Willow Nightingale. I feel like those are the two women left who I feel like still have an actual chance to maybe possibly dethrone Tony. Jamie being, of course, the first pick because we got a little bit of history between those two. But JBL, I would like your thoughts on this match and to any part of the conversation we've had so far.
I mean, there's a lot that's been covered that I don't need to go into. I will say this. I love Billy Starks to death. I love everything about the partnership they have. She didn't need to be there. She is part of the reason this kind of didn't work as well because the constant interference, while it is a staple of an Athena match, it just took away from it. It was pulling and slowing things down. And we could have had Mina and her brawl backstage. It could have been fine. The two of them worked well together when they were working. It just got it was stop start for me. You're right. Mm-hmm. It was serviceable for that reason. I love that Athena tapped out because now she's going to take that down to ROH and him be in her head about it. This might be the downfall of Athena there, which is a great thing to start seeing. But Tony needed to hang on to this. She is carrying basically AEW television for a lot of this now. You kind of can't pivot off that yet. And in terms of Jamie Hayter, I see this as they're going to go into that feud like Betty Davis had with Joan Crawford, at least in her mind. She is Betty Davis, Jamie Hayter is Joan Crawford, and they are going to go at it like two starlets. It's going to be perfect.
I can't wait. I hope that's the feud we're getting for Tony next, while Willow deals with whatever's going on with Chris and everything else too. Again, unfortunately. I was like, yeah. I thought we were done. But those two are like the Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. It's like they are the fight forever couple, and I will support them in everything they do. All right, semi-main event time. This was an overbooked mess, and I was...
So this ties into that. Athena had to sign her contract now, and Tony Khan came out afterwards and said, you have to announce. It's not like Money in the Bank. You have to announce. Yeah. But I thought with Athena signing her contract, that was setting that up for what I thought was going to happen in this match, which we talked about on the stream, and I was a little mad it didn't. That's what I'll say for that.
Anyway, so semi-main event, AEW World Championship match, MJF versus our champ, the anxious millennial cowboy, and the biggest icon and ally to anybody, proving that, you know what, Hangman, he's that guy. Like, we love Hangman in this house. I was like, he's an ally to the LGBTQIA community. Whole man could have promo in Spanish, and honestly, he like became hotter. As well as, you know, oh my God, he is. I'm gonna be so for real. That's another moment that's gonna stick with me this year. Watching Hangman cut a whole promo in Spanish and actually do really well with it. And I was like, he didn't read off a card or anything. Like, this motherfucker practiced it and was able to say it. Anyways, I digress. So Max got this match after threatening to arson Mark Briscoe because initially Hangman was able to get into Max's head and goad him into using his contract. So then Max went to the, Ricochet and Gates of Agony, kidnapped Mark Briscoe, tied him up. They were going to set him on fire, and Hangman had to agree to three things. Number one, the titles can change hands via DQ, which kind of came into play a little bit almost. Two, title can change hands via countout. Bryce, I love you, but some of those countouts were very generous. And three, Max did not need this match to use his contract in order to get. So, of course, Hangman agrees because he didn't want Mark Briscoe to become a shish kebab, a burnt to a crisp, like shake and bake too long. So here we are. Again, this match was an overbooked mess. And again, we got shenanigans. MJF pulling his normal crap, so to speak, of just being arrogant. Also, the MJF audible callouts are one of my favorites, especially, what the fuck?
He's great at finding his mic. He really is.
It's great. And he creates the best memes. Like when Brody King choked him out at Dynamite 300, that became a good meme, and I loved it. I will say, I think from beginning to very, very end, when the match of the evening, upon first watch through, I was like, wow, we're kind of hanging around the fact that the bell didn't ring. MJF thinks he's won. I was like, damn, we're kind of giving this a little bit of time to figure this out. I feel like Mark Briscoe missed a cue, or somebody didn't play the music in time, because we were waiting there for a little bit before Mark came out, and I was just like, okay, Mark, you're here. Go do something. Oh, never mind. You don't even make it to the ring. Never mind. And then, so, of course, match happens. Hangman ultimately ends up winning by smacking the bejesus out of MJF with that contract. I was like, hot damn, that is a dent inside that thing. I was like, holy crap. So, JBL, I'm going to come to you first. What do we think of our World Championship match?
It's exactly what I expected out of it. It was going to be kind of worked in a kind of safer style in certain ways. It took a lot more. I'm pretty sure that the timing on things was kind of, it was planned, and they thought it would look good for that ending where the leg would be on the rope again and he would miss it. But that was done better in other matches than this one. And honestly, it took too long. And I don't think it was Mark Briscoe. I don't think it was an actual tech problem. I think there was a miscommunication in the ring, and it didn't work the way it should have. I'm mad because I had put a proviso in our scoring that Hangman would win, and then Max would cash in his contract and beat him and get the title to walk out of London, which would have been so underhanded and fun. But now they have to distance themselves from this Money in the Bank concept. They actually needed to be something else. With now Tony Khan coming out and saying it needs to be at least a day before the show that you have to announce your what you're going for, which kind of takes the fun out of it in certain ways. But also Money in the Bank concept kind of hasn't worked in years anyways. And these Casino Gauntlet contracts have been all losses so far. So overall, well done enough. They didn't play with the stip enough where, DQ would have gotten him to lose the title. Like, if you're going to set that up, play with it more. But not bad. Not bad at all. I mean, it's not one of the best title defenses ever, but not a bad one.
Good point. Benny, same question to you. What do we think of our World Championship match?
Yeah, I also thought it was a little clunky, and I think it went a little bit too long. Like because the next match seemed like everybody was like, "Get in here, let's go. We got a curfew. Wrap it up, B."
Well, I mean, if you're taking the train out of London, yeah, they got to get all the crowd out to the train so they can actually get out of the city.
Oh yeah. What? So AEW doesn't adhere to trains. I mean, I've only missed about two of them myself at AEW shows because they go like, "We're gonna stick around for another 2 hours," and you're like, "What?"
I can walk home from here. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. It's only 36 miles. What's the problem? You know.
Middle of the dark through Boston, never a bad thing. Anyhow,
Anywho, but yeah, there was typical MJF shenanigans, and like there was really nothing going on in this match, to be honest with you. Like I mean, like there was a lot going on per se, but like nothing really to write home about. Like it was just sort of like, yeah, Max tries a lot. Hangman gets out of the way of most of it, and then Mark Briscoe sort of comes out, and then we go home. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. So again, I love Max's character. I love me some Hangman Adam Page, but yeah, I do agree. It kind of went on a little long. I was like, damn, y'all, we've been going for like almost 25 minutes now. Like, we could wrap this up right now. And so, all right. So, Hangman wins. MJF still has his contract. So, again, with what Tony Khan said at the scrum afterwards, it'll be very interesting going forward. Also, we also learned that in December, leading into World's End, we will be getting a return with Dynamite and Collision happening in the UK. So that's going to be a lot of fun, which is also going to include some international Continental Classic matches, which makes me excited. I'm excited. I love in the 2 years we've done the Continental Classic, I've enjoyed the concept, and I can't wait to see who's going to be in it a little bit later this year. All right, boys, strap in though, because now we talked about all the wrestling matches. This was a goddamn butt blast. Holy shit.
Wait. We didn't get to Umbop yet.
We're going to get there. I'm going to talk about the entrances, but this was our main event. This was the lights out steel cage match. So this is Team Death Riders, which is Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli, teaming up with New Japan and who I am predicting to be the future leader of the Bullet Club War Dogs and Gabe Kidd, because David Finlay can't get his shit together. Just kidding. And they are teaming up with the Young Bucks. We're going to get to them in a little bit. And then they are going up against your baby faces of Darby Allin, Will Ospreay, the Ace of New Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and the bisexual dream that is the Golden Lovers. Like, let's be real, y'all. They fuck. I'm just kidding. Like, allegedly. Who knows? They at least kissed, maybe, allegedly. But, so, when Benny and I did the review, the Go Home Show review, right? We talked about this, Benny, and we're just like, I'm looking at Darby's team, and 3 out of the 5 members are probably going to die. Ibushi just came back from fighting 2 years worth of injury. Kenny is missing part of his stomach due to diverticulitis. Tanahashi's knees have been blown out more than, me on a Friday night. And, so I was like, all right, Darbs and Will, because I had picked Team Death Riders to win, because I was like, I feel like Darby can lose and then he'll win the war. Not the case here. I was like, all right, Will, you're probably going to take this pin, or Darbs, you're going to die. I mean, I got one of those things right. Darby did kind of die in this match. I don't even know where to begin with this match. Well, first, let's start with the beginning. So earlier in the show, Young Bucks were telling production, I need you to get it together and play our actual music. And they got their music. But it wasn't what they originally thought it was going to get. We literally got their independent wrestling music thing of Bop. I was just like, oh my God, they keep digging into the well of this. And it is the greatest thing. Also, watching videos of Osprey and Kenny Omega, because Kenny got caught in the camera for this one too during the pay-per-view, of singing and dancing to Bop was probably the best gift wrestling has gave me this past weekend. I'm not even going front. I'm just like, how much more in the lore are we gonna play with? Because I'm here for this. It's so damn good.
I was so worried that the Bucks were just going to come off of that loss and go the usual way of like a heel team losing their way, but still being dicks and everything else. And they really have leaned into like, we want this to be fun. So we're going to do the worst we can in the best possible way.
They literally brought back being the elite too. I was like, holy shit, it's back, y'all. There's so much fun. But now that we got the fun part of the way, this was a bloodbath. Holy crap. Like, Moxley, I feel like you worked at Claire's at one point because you and that screwdriver and Darby's ears, I was just like, oh my God. And then people jumping off cages, the spot with Gabe and Darby going through that stacks of tables, like complete. I was like, oh my God, they missed half of the tables and they literally just overshot a little bit onto the floor. I'm like, we just got Gabe back. He had to drop out of the G1 because of a tweaked knee, Darbs, and we just got you back too. I was like, Darby, I love you. I was like, if you don't go to GCW and have a death match at one point at this point, what are we doing with our wrestling careers? But my God, the Gummy Bears also, I was like, not the Gummy Bears.
That was so good. Oh,
this
my God.
was just... This was your pure like sports entertainment match. It's like everybody doing things. People are bleeding. Crazy things are happening. I'm going to be honest. This can be our men's blood and guts and we could just do one women's one and call it a day. Like, honestly, this felt like a blood and guts match without, the entering at intervals. Benny, I'm going to come to you first because unfortunately this was the match we did not get to witness together because I had to jump over to another watch along. But Lord have mercy. What did you think of this chaotic main event?
This was like the perfect culmination of everything that AEW has been built on, right? Like we got like crazy stunts, hardcore matches, and haha. One thing that I don't see a lot of people talking about was that like the ring coats that the Bucks had these tassels that were like this long. like
oh yeah,
it's like their breast pocket was like it was like to their navel, and like what was it like Tanahashi like trying to climb the ladder and like Kenny and Will just walking over to him and be like, no, you can't get up there. You have no knees. And like, it's so funny. Like, you guys see that? Like Tanahashi trying to run into the ring like a couple weeks, like last week. He just looks like a mall walker.
He has no knees. Like they're completely gone.
I was like, Tana, I love you, but hot damn, we do not need you running. We try our best. But
with love, I said that, of course.
Oh, absolutely. We love the Isu. JBL.
There's so much to add to this at this point. Like I was happy to see the New Japan style cage, so they had some room in the middle and so people could see. It was Darby going over the top. Like, oh my God, the coffin drop that like didn't happen, and there's just so much carnage. And then I did love that we got the mid-fly flow to end the match, because how can you get high when your knees are made of bone dust and dreams? Like, he needs to be done. can we please just let Tana retire? And this was an interesting way to kind of get around all these guys. And yet you put the most injured people in there to do the most work. It's like, gods, what are you going to do? And then you write like Will off afterwards. Like, it just was insane.
That is very, very true. But so, and you know what? I did appreciate that Tana did get the pin for this one. I was just like, this was his final appearance in in terms of being a wrestler in the UK for the year. You guys, I think I might be a bally mess when Wrestle Kingdom comes, because we know that Tana's final match is going to be at Wrestle Kingdom. This might be a crazy out there thing. I actually would like to see Moxley be his final opponent at Wrestle Kingdom. I mean, these two have had, Lord have mercy, they have a long history together as wrestlers and as friends. Like, I actually would like to see Moxley be Tana's final opponent, but I digress. The baby faces win, so we're all celebrating. Things are great. Unfortunately, everybody forgot how steel cage matches work post angle, because you do not celebrate until you are all outside, because unfortunately Death Riders get Ospreay into the ring by himself. They beat the crap out of him. We get stomps on chairs. Like, this is to write off Ospreay, who's been dealing with neck problems, and so he's going to get that fixed off. So now Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay are now off of our television screen for the foreseeable future, and Ospreay laying in the ring with medical coming in is how we end the show. And I did actually watch the whole extended video on social media of them carrying him out after the show went off the air. The baby faces did not leave his side, which was kind of great, like storytelling wise. But yeah, well, especially Ibushi and Omega and Darby were kind of standing there, but Ibushi and Tana did like the Japanese wrestling thing. They were literally kneeling with medical team, and they helped carry Will Ospreay out when he left the cage from the stretcher and everything. I was just like, damn, New Japan be hitting different. But yeah, so boys, that is the end of Forbidden Door. Holy crap, this was a really fun card. I do feel that the first half was a lot stronger to me personally than the second one. But again, AEW has been consistently doing really good with these pay-per-views, man. I mean, we're coming off of, not to say that everything before Double or Nothing was not great, but Double or Nothing, then y'all in Texas, Forbidden Door, they constantly are going and going and going. And now we're hitting the next big four for AEW. I'm interested to see what we're getting at All Out Toronto in a couple of weeks too. So that's going to be fun. I do not have the graphic because I did not have time to finish it, but I will have it up next episode. But even though he's not here, shout out to the professor. He got the best record for Forbidden Door. I was like, gosh dang it, Professor. He beat JBL. He beat us by one. I was like, damn it.
Which one was it? I'm very curious which one it was.
Okay, so let me pull up the thingamabobs right here. So that's always fun. Let me see, because I am going to actually, I could just pull up the predictions to see. So, as I'm pulling this up, we here at BC WrestlePod have a predictions league, and that predictions league is for fun and bragging rights and something, and potentially a punishment at the end of our predictions league, but who knows what that is? So we shall see. So we all did our predictions for Forbidden Door, which was kind of crazy as well. So the final record stand, that Professor was in first with a record of 8-1. JBL, you and me tied with a 7-2, and Betty, I love you, but you came in last with 6-3. So we were actually relatively all close.
Wow.
Don't worry. I still have to calculate the averages because since you are new, otherwise that would put you far behind. So I am taking a look at all of this. So I'm trying to think, what would be the match that would push the Professor over the edge? Let me see. Well, I think what happened is because what pushed the Professor over the edge over you, JBL, is the fact that alongside me, Professor was the one who picked he also picked Copeland and Cage to win. And so he got that point there. And the only point that Professor missed was, like we all missed, was the tag team, the outcome of the tag team title match.
Right, because none of us thought that the Hurt Syndicate was losing.
No, so I got that one wrong, and then what gave me my second loss was that because I was the only one that picked Team Death Riders to win the cage match. And then for you picked Kipped and Kill Switch, which gave you the first loss, and same thing, the tag team championship match. Other than that, we all had the same picks.
That's it was an easy card to pick in that respect.
Very fair as well. So, yeah, man, what a fun pay-per-view. This was a blast. So, we are done this evening for, Forbidden Door, but this week is just starting now, and if you thought one pay-per-view was enough, oh no, we have a whole bunch of other pay-per-view reviews this week. So let's take a look at our week, shall we? So, tomorrow evening is on the 27th, Wednesday of August, is our double review night where Will and I are going to be holding down the fort for both shows. So at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, Will and I will be doing a short review for NXT Heatwave, which for some god-awful reason was on the same night as Forbidden Door. I was like, why are you doing this, Fed? Why are you doing this to your talent? It's ridiculous. I will say, though, Jordan Grace, Blake Monroe, y'all ate that match. That match was fantastic. But we're going to be reviewing all the other stuff that happened at Heatwave as well as the announcements that we're getting 2 other pay-per-views and a special TV show episode of NXT coming up. But then the best thing that happens every Wednesday for us is that we will be reviewing CMLL. We will be reviewing this past week's Viernes Espectacular. And Will and I are going to have a fun time because we are previewing. We've been waiting all summer, and it's finally here. The CMLL Men's Grand Prix is here. And my God, the Team USA and Team Mexico picks for each side is buck wild. All I have to say is Speedball Mike Bailey and CMLL just makes sense in my fantasy. My God, I cannot wait. Then on Thursday, we are jumping straight across back over the pond to the UK as Andrew and I review Progress's 100 Volts show, where we have a new men's world champion, probably one of the greatest women's matches that I have seen in any promotion this year. And it's kind of tied with one that happened at Evolution, but Lord have mercy, the women in the States and the international scene are freaking killing it. So if you want to hear our thoughts, and we also had a Hollywood actor defend his championship in a crazy fatal 4-way, which was also fun. So if you want to hear all our thoughts on that, make sure you tune in Thursday. Friday, we are back with our TNA review as we review this week's TNA episode now that we have a new TNA Knockouts World Champion. And we're going to talk about all that good stuff that happened. And then we round out our week as I will be spending Saturday morning reviewing Ring of Honor's Death Before Dishonors. So that's going to be a fun review. I really enjoyed doing the Super Card of Honor one. And once again, I will be here to do Death Before Dishonor. And then, of course, the final one being in December for Final Battle, which I'm excited about. So, yeah, we got a packed week this week. So that's going to be it for us here at Elite Insight as well as BC WrestlePod for the evening. We got to get up on out of here. But until tomorrow and the rest of this week for these amazing reviews, remember, stay Bi-Conic, take care of yourself, love one another. And for myself, JBL, and Benny here, as well as the BC WrestlePod family, this is Sayonara and adios. But until next review, peace.